All right, Amanda, you're around the table. You know what's coming. You have to wait a couple of days to tell us all of it. But give us an idea of why there's a need to do something differently this year than maybe last year.
Can I start by taking on what Tanya's just had to say in the clip you've played? If they think it's ordinary that new medicines are being added to the PBS, that new treatments are being made available for Australians, let's just take a little step back in time to the last time Labor was in government, when medicines and treatments stopped being put on the PBS because their budget was so up the creek without a paddle that they couldn't afford to do it. So let's not pretend this is not a small thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
correct.
I'll calm down now. The budget is all about driving a recovery that is about jobs. And Australia is already performing better than just about any developed economy in the world on the employment front. We have done a better job of protecting people's jobs through the turmoil of COVID. And everything else in this budget is about making sure every person in Australia can be a part of our economic recovery and can have the security and certainty they need to be able to have the confidence to keep investing in Australia. And so that's the mission, and I have no doubt that the budget will do just that.
I like Amanda, again, look, the Queensland government at the political level, their entire hope is to burn some of their political capital against the federal government on whatever the downsides are, that it's all to do with the federal government, it's all to do with Scott Morrison, to try to shift a couple of seats here and there. They've won in places like the Sunshine Coast at the state level, so you've got a bit of work to do to at least hold what you currently have. So, and they're very good at politics, right? I can't stand them, but they're very good at politics. So all day, every day, it feels like there's some sort of a hit coming. And the Treasurer of Queensland, among other things, has said today that the international border decision is going to continue to hit the state finances. This is going to impact on some of our forecasting. It'll mean that regional communities in particular will be exposed to tourism, and international tourism market will be struggling. So to 2 points here, but let's deal with the second, with the political bit first. Do you agree with me that that is the entire political objective of the Queensland government? It's why they bitch and moan every single day, hoping that that some of that muck ends up, dragging your side's vote at the next election?
Look, they're lousy at governing, but they are good at politics. This push from the Queensland Treasurer smells so much like the kid who's putting on the sore tummy on the Sunday night to prime themselves for a sickie from school on Monday. This is about managing expectations for yet another appalling Queensland budget, because year after year after year we see absolutely irresponsible budgets from this Queensland government. And let's do a little bit of a fact check here. They want to blame closed international borders when 5 minutes ago, loosely speaking, they were very happy to close domestic borders and say, who cares what that does to the economy? As a state, Queensland's government has put in less than any other state government into the economic recovery, the absolute lowest of anywhere in the country. Meanwhile, they moan about tourism operators struggling. We've put in well over $1.2 billion to help get tourism in this country back on its feet. They've done near enough to nothing. Similarly, they say that, this budget's going to be terrible because there's no international students. Fact check again. UQ's just announced, and I believe it's Treasurer Dick's alma mater, just announced record enrolments because of their move to teach digitally. So, a lot of this doesn't stack up. It does look like the bunged on sore tummy on a Sunday night.
It's very well put. I know that you would, the Guardian would scream if you put advertising out. But when I went to Cairns, it wasn't one or two. Anyone that I talked about JobKeeper would use the following sentence: "Thank God for JobKeeper." Right? That's something that held Queensland together. I know you can't put it on a poster anywhere because, as I said, the left would lose their brain. But Is this politics going to work, though? Because I'll be honest, the relentlessness of reminding people about JobKeeper seems to have passed when it clearly was such an effective thing out of the last budget, such an effective thing regardless of what was happening domestically for Queensland, yet it seems that the advocacy of the state government is what turns up on the 6 p.m. news, not the reality that many people held their job because of the economic stimulus that was handed to them.
Look, as I travel around, and particularly in places like Cairns, particularly anything that's connected to the hospitality and tourism industry statewide, people still remember and are glad for JobKeeper. And so even if the press has moved on and is looking for a new story, a lot of people understand that the reason they've got their job is because JobKeeper got them through. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was in Cairns, popped into the local pub, talked to the girl behind the counter and had a chat. She graduated from JobKeeper and was in one of the pubs that I'd had to work with Josh to make sure they got eligibility for JobKeeper because there was a quirk of Queensland licensing law that meant, weirdly, these Queensland pubs were going to miss out when the whole rest of the country was fine. We sorted it out, but she was just, thank you so much. You don't understand what this means for me and my family. So I actually think it still matters a great deal to the people in places that have been hard hit.